It's really nice to be here. It's especially meaningful to me because Carson McCullers is my favorite writer. She's just a huge influence on my work, and so it's really cool to be here. I'm going to read a new story. It hasn't been published or anything, and it's got some pretty bad language in it, and some blue material. But I'll just get us through it as well as I can. Can you hear me okay? Okay. This is called An Arc Welder, a Molotov Cocktail, a Bowie Knife. It was almost midnight when my girlfriend got a call about her sister who had been arrested for taking a kebab skewer at a cookout and stabbing her husband so close to his dick that it was probably going to affect its long-term functioning. Though I did not like the guy at all, the prognosis for his dick had been my immediate concern upon hearing of the altercation, not the fact that his wife was now in jail. Even though it was over an hour away, I drove my girlfriend to their house so she could watch her nieces and nephews until their parents found a way to get back home. If they end up killing each other, my girlfriend told me, I think I'm the one who gets the kids. I didn't have to say anything in response because she knew, as well as I did, that I would not be around if that happened. The kids were as close to feral as you can get, like animals dressed up in camouflage jumpsuits. Someone had dumped an entire box of frozen corn dogs onto a pan and was warming them on top of a kerosene heater in the living room. The youngest boy, who was 5, and the 2 girls, 8 and 10, were tearing open packets of Pop-Tarts, even though there were already dozens of half-eaten Pop-Tarts all over the house. There were 3 or 4 kittens, their eyes oozing pus, running up and down the hallways, and my eyes burned from the smell of piss that saturated the air. In what was ostensibly the dining room, there were, I shit you not, 6 broken, outdated computers in plain sight. The oldest boy, who I think was 14 but looked older, was playing a video game about the apocalypse, but all he kept doing was scrolling through the available weapons in his possession while the game was on pause. I couldn't stand still in the house because the toxins in the air would settle on me, so I kept pacing through the rooms, afraid to stop moving. In the kitchen, there was a person-sized puddle of grape soda that had turned solid, imprints of the kids' bare feet tracking it all over the vinyl floor. My girlfriend took the girls into the bathroom and turned the shower on them and got them ready for bed. Then she made a bed on the sofa for the little boy, and we watched him hump a pillow for nearly 15 minutes before he finally fell into something that was barely sleep. The oldest kid, a giant, more than 6 feet 3 inches tall, just kept scrolling through all the weapons he could, if he wanted to, use on any number of irradiated mutants. My girlfriend went into the kitchen to clean up a little, and I watched the hypnotic clicking of the game as the boy went back and forth between items: brass knuckles, pieces of brick, a baseball bat with nails in it, a BB gun, a 9mm pistol, a sniper rifle, a sawed-off shotgun, an arc welder, a Molotov cocktail, a Bowie knife, a sledgehammer, an empty 2-liter of Mountain Dew, a plasma rifle, and on and on and on. Finally, without even looking at me, he said, "People always talk, but then when you do something, they shut up." I had no idea if he was threatening me or if this was connected to the game, but I did not for 1 second think about responding. Bitches today, they are everywhere, he said, without any emotion whatsoever. Okay, I said. He finally unpaused the game, having selected a plasma rifle, and it was not 5 seconds before a zombie jumped from a tree overhead and ripped out his throat. He restarted the game, paused it, and scrolled again through the list of available weapons. The cat piss smell was starting to settle on my clothes, particles of it like snowflakes on my eyelashes, and so I got up and did another round through the house. I found a bone beside the toilet, my girlfriend said to me, holding up something white and hard. It was not a fragment of a bone, but an intact bone of unknown provenance. Human or animal, we did not know, and there seemed a 50-50 chance of what it was based on the other evidence in the house. We had to keep our voices down because the oldest boy was still in the living room, gnawing on the wooden corn dog sticks until they splintered in his mouth, still trying to decide how best to kill something imaginary. "He split her lip once," she said to me, like there wasn't a bone on the edge of the sink in front of us, like we were just going to table that and talk about what we already knew, that her sister and brother-in-law were not going to resolve anything anytime soon. "Well, do you think the skewer is a direct, retaliation for getting her lip split?" "I don't know," she said, seriously considering it. "It was almost a year ago." "You think your sister could take a split lip, hold on to that moment for almost a year, waiting for the right time and weapon, and stab him in the dick?" "Yes," she replied, her eyes like a kaleidoscope. "Then it's just going to escalate, I think," I told her, as if this was the kind of shit I had any experience with. "What do I do?" she asked me, and I was shocked to see her crying. She was crying about her fucked up, always drunk, sarcastic sister. She was scared because her sister was in jail and she was probably going to have to pay the bail, and her sister would probably be released from jail at the same time her brother-in-law would be released from the hospital, and they would probably just walk right back into this shitty house and fuck everything up again. My girlfriend was crying because her sister, who hated her, would need help, and my girlfriend would try to figure out how to give it. I leaned across the sink to pull her close to me, and I knocked the bone into the sink, and it made a clattering sound that made my teeth grind. But I held on to her and tried to calm her until I heard the little boy moaning and half awake and needing assistance. She started to get up, but I sat her on the edge of the bathtub right next to a giant hole in the ceramic like someone dropped a bowling ball on it, and told her I would take care of it. Before I had even completely kneeled down to look at the boy, he had his arms around my neck. "Are you having a bad dream, buddy?" I asked, and he whimpered and nodded. "It's okay," I said, and I am not lying when I say that I was suppressing my gag reflex the entire time I was holding him, this sweet little boy who was in no way responsible for all the awful shit that swirled around him on a daily basis. I thought back to what my girlfriend had said about custody if the parents killed each other, and I thought maybe I'd take this one and light out for parts unknown. I'd never held a baby, a toddler, a child, anything, but I was getting used to being needed by something powerless. The boy had snot running down his nose, and I took the sleeve of my shirt and cleaned up his face. I lowered him back onto the sofa, and he, like he was a black belt in jiu-jitsu, snatched my hand and pulled my entire left arm underneath his body, right up against his crotch, and he humped my arm for what felt like a long time, until the battery inside of him wore out and he was asleep again. I looked over at the oldest boy, the giant, still scrolling, still obsessed with finding some kind of A-bomb of a weapon, shaking his head like I'd just been punked, like he'd set this all in motion and now I'd done something embarrassing in front of him. "You ever kill a fucking thing in this game?" I asked him, my face hot with embarrassment. "More than you ever could," he said. My hand was tingling, like it had some kind of special power that the little kid had imparted in the course of his humping. "In real life," I said, "I don't think you can just pause the action until you find the right weapon." "That's why I'm practicing with this game," he said. "When I go into the Marines, I'll be ready." "You're going to be a Marine?" I said. "I'm going to be a sniper," he replied, "or a light machine gunner, or on the back of a 50 cal, and I'm going to be the best." He was wearing snake boots that went to his knees, and he duct taped a butterfly knife to one of them. "Fair enough," I said.